Hey, what's up guys? Tahir Isaacs here from Digital Unicorns, and today we'll be looking at how to plan, set up and create your first wireframe. The tools we'll be using today are Whimsical for creating our wireframe and Google Docs for creating our requirements document. By the end of the video, you'll be able to create a requirements document for your wireframe, set up Whimsical for your wireframe, and finally create, export and share your wireframe. So there are two ways that you can go about creating a wireframe. One, just jump into the deep end and start building out the wireframe as ideas come to you. Or two, you can take a more methodical approach where you create a requirements document that lists out all the requirements needed within the wireframe. This way you can use your requirements document as a reference point as you're building up your wireframe. Before the video, I created a wireframe requirements document for you. So if you go down to the description, you'll find a link that will direct you to the page that you're looking at right now on your screen. To make a copy of the document, click File, Make a Copy, and rename the document to anything that you want it to be. In this case, I'm leaving it as wireframe requirements document. Then click OK. Perfect. So once you've done that, you should be able to edit the document yourself and it should be living within your own Google Drive. Our requirements document is split into three sections. We have our purpose section, which is why are we creating the wireframe, our requirement section, which is what elements need to exist on our wireframe, and our devices section, which is what devices are you wireframing for. Let's go ahead and start adding our purpose. In this example, I'm going to be creating a contact page. So I would like to create a contact page that allows my users to easily input their first name, last name, and email address. That's the purpose of my wireframe. Next up, we have our requirements section, which is basically the meat of our wireframe. What elements need to exist and how do they function? So simply put, if I'm going to have a button, what will happen if the user clicks that button? Finally, we move to our last devices section. What devices are you wireframing for? In our example today, we're going to only be looking at a desktop device. So what we'll do is we'll just type an X next to desktop. And that's it. You've just created your first wireframe requirements document. Keep it open in a separate tab so that you can use it as a reference as you're building up your wireframe. Next up, we'll start building our wireframe. Follow the link in the description to whimsical.com and sign up for a free account. Great, so once you've signed up, you should land on your Whimsical dashboard. On the dashboard, you can create new projects, which in Whimsical is called boards. What you want to do is click on the wireframe icon in the top panel, and you will then be taken to your first wireframe board. First up, change the name of your board. In the top left hand corner, you can quickly update the name of your board. In my case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call my board My First Wireframe. Before jumping into our wireframe, let's familiarize ourselves with the Whimsical board. In the top left hand corner, you can see navigational links that will take you back to the previous screen, and the top right hand corner has little icons, and all of these icons has to do with our current board. Things like comments, exporting, searching within the board, and your profile. But the main toolbar that we'll be working with today is in the left hand side, and that toolbar holds all of our elements like text, buttons, images, links and icons, as well as our frames. Frames being the device artboards that we'll be using to place all of our elements on top of. Now that you know your way around Whimsical, let's jump into creating this wireframe. Click the letter F on your keyboard to bring up the frames toolbar on the left hand side. Then click Window and drag the window onto your board. Left click to set it in place. So if I refer back to my requirements document that I created earlier, I see that I need to create a navigation bar over here that holds a logo and a few links. Firstly, I need to create a container for that navigation bar. To do that, click the letter R to bring up the rectangle element, and then left click to place it on your frame. Then click and drag on a corner to extend it to the full width of the frame. Next is my logo. Go over to your toolbar, select element and scroll down to image. Click image and place it on top of our container we just created. Now I'm going to resize my image so that it fits within my container. Finally, for my navbar, I need my links. I'm going to go over to elements again, go down to link and drop my links on my navbar. Then I'm going to change it to something like home, and I'm going to have an about link and a services link and maybe a contact us link for the page that we're going to be on. Now that my links have been set, let me group them up and align them to the right hand side of my navigation bar. Next on my requirements list is my header section. So for my header section, I'm going to need a background image. If I go over to my elements toolbar and scroll down to image, I'm going to place my image on my board and just extend it so that it covers the area where I think the header image should go. The last two pieces in my header section are my page title and subtitle. To start writing text, all I need to do is click the letter T on my keyboard, and that should bring up a cursor. I then click down on my board and then just start typing. I can change the text size up here, and I'm going to change it to XXL. Then I could either click the letter T again, or I could just duplicate this text and add my subtitle. I'm going to change my subtitle size to medium and then just center align it with my page title. Then I'm going to group my page title and my subtitle with my background image. Great, now that my header section is completed, I can move on to my contact form section. And in this section, I'm just going to be using 4 elements. I'm going to have 3 input fields, one for my first name, the next for my last name, and one for the user's email address. And then I'm going to also include a submit button for the user to submit their form. Right, let's add the input field. Click on elements, look for input, and drop it onto my board. And then I'm just going to change the width of this input. And then update the placeholder text within the input. The placeholder text is there to indicate to the user what do I need to input into this text field. So I'll change this one to name. And like I did with my page title and subtitle, I'm just going to duplicate this input for my last name and email address input fields. Now I need my submit button, and I can go back to my element side and select solid button and drag it down below my input fields, and I'm just going to update the text over here to say submit my form, and I want that center aligned beneath my form fields. I'm going to drag and group my form fields and just align it closer to my header section. And there you go. You've just created your first wireframe. Before sending it out to a designer or developer or building it out yourself, have a look at your requirements document to make sure that all the requirements have been met on your wireframe. Next, we'll be taking a look at how to export your wireframe via a shareable link or via exporting it to an image. To get the shareable link, what you want to do is navigate to the top right hand corner and click the paper plane icon. You then want to click Get Shareable Link, and then just copy the link that's shown to you over there. To test out your link, open up a new tab and paste the link in the URL and click enter. Great, now let's look at how to export your wireframe as an image. Again, we want to click on the paper plane icon, then click on export, and what you want to do is make sure that the frames tab is clicked over here. Your size can either be 1 times the size or twice the size, which would make it good for retina screens. And then you want to make sure content only is selected and click download. Your wireframe should be downloaded to your desktop and you can now send it to whoever you need to. And that is it, guys. If you found this video useful, please share it with others you feel would benefit from this tutorial, and don't forget to share your experiences and other questions via the comments section below, and I will definitely help where I can. Until next time, stay learning, stay curious.